DJ,
Yeah.
this a hit, boy.
No competition like no I in my team. No, all they wishful thinking or is it a nice dream? And we can see them coming, no need for high beam. Decision making, change a player, just do the right thing.
Welcome to Post Point with your host, Winton McCullough. Hey, it's time to talk some sports, y'all. I'm glad you decided to talk some sports with me. Now, this is a public service announcement. To anybody who has a take, to anybody who wants to debate, I'll drop the link. The door is open. You want to come on. You got something to say. I duck no smoke. Let's get it. But you know, a lot of y'all be acting scared.
You were scared, huh? Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Y'all know who y'all are. I invite you on. You do a take. You don't want to do no more for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's okay to be wrong. Everybody can't be right. Like me. Let's start the show.
Wasn't with me in the gym, so how can you contest? Walk on hilltop and ran many miles to be the best. Don't know what team I'm on, but I'm like, how you see my chest?
This episode of Post Point is brought to you by independent insurance salesperson Wanda Washington, a local independent life insurance agent that can get you covered even with health issues. No medical exam and no one is turned down. Call or text Wanda Washington at 843-245-0206 for your no obligation quote. She could save you thousands of dollars. Just contact her at 843-245-0206 and let her help you and your family. On today's episode, I got a special guest who's going to help me drive this episode, Aaron Harrington. He's also been schooled at the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting, so he's learned from Hall of Famers. I call him Mr. One-Liner because he got some one-liners for your tail, and he's a big Buffalo fan. We're going to talk some Buffalo football. We're going to talk some NBA, and yeah, we're going to try to make this a reoccurring thing. I hope you dig it. Let's do it. All right, so Aaron, for those who are not part of Bills Mafia, from the outside looking in, what were the expectations for this team? Again, not from national media, but again from Bills Mafia coming into the season.
Coming into the season, the expectations no other than a Super Bowl. You have Josh Allen coming off the best season of his career statistically, and of course he won the MVP. The only thing on his resume now that he needs is a Super Bowl. And after training camp, heading into the season, all the slow starts to the top teams in the AFC, it was a clear path for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, you have the Kansas City Chiefs who started off really slow. They're 4-3 now, but they're not the same Kansas City Chiefs as of old. They're getting some pieces back, Rashee Rice. So we'll see how they do the rest of the season. And of course, the big injury in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow being out for most of the season. The Bengals are not as good. They weren't really good last year with Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow gave him a fighting chance. Now without Joe Burrow, they're not the team that everybody's used to seeing. And then the Baltimore Ravens being 1-5 through this point of the season. Lamar Jackson's been out the last couple games, and most of their salary cap, I think more than 50% of their salary cap has been injured since week 1. So the Baltimore Ravens haven't been a formidable team yet. We'll see what they do once they get all these guys back. But yeah, Super Bowl or bust for the Buffalo Bills this season, with all these teams suffering a lot of injuries and not being as good as we thought they were preseason.
Super Bowl or bust, you gotta love it. So with that, do you think the team that's at the top of the AFC right now, the Indianapolis Colts, is not a threat?
They are a threat.
Okay.
I like what I've seen for Daniel Jones, but we'll see if he comes back to the Daniel Jones old.
Right.
That's the thing. Like his high is real high right now. We'll see if he comes back down to earth a little bit. I like what the Colts got though. That running game, Jonathan Taylor.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. We'll see what they do.
I think everybody is waiting for Daniel Jones to come back down to earth. All right. So what do you think the reason for the Bills' struggle is going into the bye week? They lost 2 in a row, if I'm not mistaken, and one was to the Falcons, who is up and down. What do you think is causing those struggles?
I don't think I know what's causing the struggles. It's the defense, the rush defense. The Buffalo Bills, they're 31st rush defense, 156 rush yards per game. You mentioned the Falcons. They lost they were on a bye last week. The week before that, Bijan Robinson had 170 yards on the ground with an average of 9 yards per carry. That's basically a first down every carry, just about. The rush defense has been terrible. It's been awful. We've had guys out. Ed Oliver, the star defensive tackle in the middle, he's been out along with Matt Milano, the superstar linebacker. He's had injury history his whole career and just can't stay healthy. He's been out as well. So that rush defense has to improve. You got to do something before the trade deadline, get some pieces in there to stop the run. It hasn't been the offense. The offense, 150 rushing yards per game. James Cook, Josh Allen carrying that offense. Fourth in points per game at 27.8. Also fourth in yards per game at 378.3. So it's not the offense that has been struggling. It's that defense, more particularly the rush defense.
Okay, you got the numbers for us now. All right, so do you buy into the media stance, subnational media, that this team is not as good as people think?
I don't want to, but you kind of have to listen to it. We do at the end of the day have the MVP in Josh Allen, so as long as you have a guy like that, you feel like you can go into any game and win no matter who you're playing. But the thing about the Bills this year, they have struggled against teams that are better than 500, even though it's been 2 games, the Patriots and the Falcons. They lost to those teams who are above 500, and they're 4-0 against teams with 1 win or less. Their wins this season have been against the Ravens, the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Saints, who are combined 3-24 this season. That's a bit of a concern. They haven't played real good competition, and when they have, they've lost. We have the Chiefs next weekend, and then the Buccaneers 2 weeks after that. So that'll be better test.
Oh, man. It's going to be lit when the Bucks come to town, baby.
This week, the Panthers, I don't know what to think about the Panthers. They're 4-3. They've been a little bit of a surprise. They're missing Bryce Young, so I'm not going to jinx it. I'm not even going to say anything. You got to come out of Carolina with the win, especially against the backup. So
right,
we'll see. But the media stance is getting a little loud about if they're good or not, and you tend to follow that stuff. So just see what they do over the couple of weeks against better opponents.
Right. So where is the Tampa game at?
I believe it's in Tampa.
Okay.
Because, the Chiefs game I believe it's in Tampa. The Chiefs game is at home next week, so, yeah.
Hey, it's going to be lit in $1, baby.
And then Buccaneers coming off a bye and all that, they'll be prepared. So.
Yeah, the Bucks is trying to get healthy, man. But injuries, I got to do I want to do a podcast about the injuries because the injuries has been up this year. I think that these softened training camps, Shannon Sharp talked about this a few years ago. You got to prepare your body for what you're going to go through in the NFL. And I think that these softened training camps, players not playing in the preseason, is contributing to a lot of these injuries. I might be wrong. I don't have the facts, but that's just what it seems like.
It's a two-way street.
Answer me this, because I have a theory that you have to have a number one receiver in order to contend in today's NFL. It wasn't like that before. You can have a dominant run game and maybe some guys who could run the route tree and do some things at receiver. But to me, you need a number one route receiver. Do you feel this team has a legit number one route receiver? And if not, that could bite them in the butt?
No, they did not have a number one receiver. Keon Coleman was drafted 33rd overall last season, and he was supposed to come into this year and be that number one guy, but he just hasn't. He only has about, I think, 237 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns through the first 6 games. That's not number one receiver production. Their number one receiver has been tight end Dalton Kincaid, but he's only had 287 receiving yards through the first 6 games, so they don't have that number one go-to guy. They paid Khalil Shakir over the offseason, but he hasn't produced like a number one receiver as well. They just have too many guys who are like borderline wide receiver 3s, wide receiver 2s, kind of like what the Packers have in Green Bay. So they also need to go after a top guy in before the trade deadline, November 4th.
Okay. So you kind of hinted at this with both of the last questions that you answered, and what do the Bills need to do to get back on track? Are you is it just the trade deadline for receiver help as well as the rush defense? Elaborate on that a little bit, or is this other things they need to do as well?
Like I said, they got to get some guys back. Ed Oliver has been playing. He came back, I think, against the game versus the Falcons. He got to get back up to speed. They've been missing Matt Milano, I mentioned earlier as well. and just some other guys on the back end. Taylor Rapp, they're missing this week against the Carolina Panthers. So yeah, it's a combination of injuries on the defensive side, and they need to make some moves before the November 4 trade deadline to go back on track.
All right. So thanks for giving us that scoop on the Buffalo Bills. You dropped the numbers for us. Little perspective there. I feel that, like you said, the AFC is wide open. The Bills do have the pedigree to overcome their struggles going into the bye week. And like you said, maybe make some moves by the trade deadline. Appreciate that. All right, so first, do not buy into the circus show that's going on in Dallas. It's all a smokescreen when you think about it. In my opinion, Jerry Jones is rebuilding. He's using the strategy that a lot of the other teams use. He's rebuilding while competing. Most teams, when they're like a contender that they have to rebuild, they take on this instead of doing a whole dump fire sale and bringing new talent in and whatnot. But just bear with me. For one, let's take Parsons. This was a boss move because you got Parsons, right? You could have signed him to an NFL quarterback contract, which is what he's asked for, and the team still wasn't going to be that good. They might be better than what they are now, even though the offense is clicking. But that's second in the in their division in the NFC. That's what, maybe on the outskirts, a wild card, and then you're not able to be flexible bringing in talent because you got basically 2 quarterback contracts or your roster. Now, this is what teams who are handicapped by the salary, this is what they do to bring in talent to compete. The Buccaneers did this during the Tom Brady era, and the Saints did this during Drew Brees last year's. You know, they were in the title game, the Saints, a few years before Drew Brees retired. Like 2 to 3 years straight, they were in the title game. But what they do is they start converting signing bonuses into different things. They start pushing paying players later on instead of paying them now, you know, giving them certain incentives and things like that. But what this does is create a credit card bill to where, okay, this allows you to bring in talent and continue to compete for 2 to 3 years. But then 3 to 4 years after that, when you're not competing, you're not contending anymore, you're not able to make any moves because the credit card bill is now due. That's what happened to the Bucs after Tom Brady left. They've been able to win in the NFC South, but we know the NFC South is not that strong. They haven't had a dominant record during those years because they was not able to rebuild properly because they was paying the credit card bill. So the Saints is going through this right now. They're not able to bring in the talent that they want because they're still paying that credit card bill. And in my opinion, Jerry Jones, I said it was a boss move. Jerry Jones avoided doubt. So what are they doing in Dallas? He's building an identity of being built through the trenches, right? The past 3 years, what has he drafted first in the first round of the draft? Offensive lineman. 3 years straight. And the offensive line looks good. I think they might have some injuries to one of those boys that he drafted, but I remember watching that first game against Philly. Even though Jalen Carter spit on that, got kicked out, they were still handling the physicality very well. And the offensive line is legit. And you bring in Brian Schottenheimer, who many people question the move, but Brian Schottenheimer is looking like his daddy. The boy looked like his daddy. Marty Schottenheimer, who coached LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Phillip Rivers in Chargers. He coached the Chiefs when they had Marcus Allen and Derek Thomas. Marty Schottenheimer was a good coach, and it's looking like Brian Schottenheimer has the pedigree as well because the offense is clicking. When you lose CeeDee Lamb, when you don't have a running back, you got an offensive line at that. The offense look good. Like, you got to give Brian Schottenheimer his credit. And okay, so what has been the Dallas Cowboys' problem on defense, even with Parsons? Teams run right at them. He came out and said it. Like I said, he's trying to build through the trenches. Teams run right at him. So even with Parsons, who could wreak havoc off the edge, again, there's still not a very good dominant team with him. Your run defense is not good. On top of that, it's not just Parsons. You know, they do have to move him around because he's a smaller guy on the edge, so he moves around. It's not just Parsons because they don't have linebackers. They don't have safeties. Their defensive tackles, they've been trying to bring in guys through the draft and whatnot, and they've been okay. So what he does, he trades for Kenny Clark. Now, he said that, you know, we got to stop the run. But realistically, your expectations are for this to start now, for the move for Kenny Clark to be an impact now is because of the circus show that Jerry Jones causes. By the way that he says things, it's like you're expecting this move to have an immediate impact, but it can't, because even with Parsons, like I just said, they don't have linebackers, they don't have safeties. You bring in Kenny Clark, one guy can't change the culture, but one guy can help build the culture, and Kenny Clark can do that because he's a dominant nose tackle, but you have to bring in talent around him, which the Cowboys are in position to do that because for the next 2 years, they have 2 first-round picks in the first round. This rebuild is starting to look like something that Jerry Jones has been able to witness with his own eyes. The Philadelphia Eagles, who built their team through the trenches and they stockpiled draft picks doing so. I think he saw that. He saw how they dominated the Super Bowl. Like, I want some of that. And he's in a position to do it. If you have a dominant, let's say if Mason Graham, the dominant tackle from Michigan, let's say a guy like that is in the draft this year. You have multiple draft picks to move up to get a guy like that. If not, you could stay put and bring in multiple talent. If you got dominant linebackers and safeties, you could bring them in. You have a good corner in Bland. I don't like Trayvon Diggs. I'd rather, he could get a lot of picks, but he's going to give. Say that again.
He jumps on everything. And
right. He can get some interceptions, but he's going to give up a lot of plays too. So, don't be fooled by the clown show. In my opinion, the move to trade Micah Parsons has stabilized this franchise because they were just floating around a team that could win games, but not a very dominant team. And this has stabilized them. This has given them an identity. And once the plan comes to fruition, I think that the Cowboys are going to be in good shape. What do you think, Aaron?
I'm kind of with you on this idea that trading Parsons wasn't a bad idea. Paying him that type of money would have locked them up for a long time, and then you would have been very top heavy with the quarterback, receiver, and defensive end getting paid a majority of your salary cap, and that formula just doesn't work in today's NFL. Now, at the time of the trade, was it a little crazy? Does Jerry Jones like to pull those headlines? Of course he does. He's one of the smartest businessmen in sports in the world, actually. He knows what he's doing, but I do see the long-term vision. Getting those 2 first-round picks, as well as Kenny Clark, is not a bad player. He's a great He's been a great defensive tackle his whole career. He's a little older now, but he still can produce it. He can still plug up that inside. The Dallas defense, it has been historically bad this season, but that offense has picked it up. The defense is the only team in the league giving up over 400 yards per game this season. They're dead last in that. They're last in passing yards per game and 30th in rushing yards per game. Historically bad. But the offense has been the tops in everything this year. Adding George Pickens, getting the production from Javonte Williams and Dak Prescott playing at an MVP level. So what I believe Jerry Jones was doing was stockpiling those draft picks, getting Kenny Clark, and he can make a move in next year's draft by bringing in a top defensive player, whether it be in the draft or trading for one. You'll have 2 first-round picks next year. I don't know how high it'll be. The Green Bay Packers, it'll be a later pick coming later because they're expected to be good. Depending on what the Cowboys do, that might be a middle of the pack pick. You can definitely do a lot with those 2 picks than the one next year. So I definitely see the vision. You really have to focus on this defense for the next
no doubt
2 years. So I'm not mad at what Jerry Jones did.
No doubt, yeah. And I think that's the plan. Like, again, I don't fall into the clown show, the circus show. I have to believe that the Cowboys the front office, the expectation in there is not what Jerry Jones presents. I have to believe that they know that this team was not going to be its best self when the move happened, after the move happened, and he's just making sure those season ticket holders have something to look forward to when they come to the games. But again, I feel that this move has stabilized this franchise, and Dak, to be honest, Dak has elevated his game, man. Like, I never brought it to the hype. I never brought it to the hype of, the national media, guys on ESPN that always, Dak's the top 10. I'm like, I don't see top 10. I see a very good, above average to good quarterback, but not top 10. But the way he's balling this year, I have to revisit that. He's been balling. So the offense is legit. A running back could make that very legit. And once the defense come together, yeah, the Cowboys gonna be a problem. And I like it when the Cowboys lose, but we got to give them respect. All right, Aaron. So to start off our basketball discussion, I want to come out and make what many is going to say is a bold statement, but I don't think it's bold at all. Victor Wembanyama is the best player in the world, the best basketball player in the world. Not just the city, the world, Craig. Let me run off a few notes for you. Let's start with the obvious. He's 7'3", 7'5". He's mobile as a wing. He has guard skills. He could shoot for the perimeter, and he has a post game. On defense, he's instinctive, aggressive, and a dominant shot blocker, and he can dominate the boards more, in my opinion. He gets rebounds, but he can dominate the boards. His obvious weakness is his strength. Coming into the NBA, you could tell he wasn't up to the speed of the game. He didn't know how to work angles. His shooting was inconsistent, and even though he had guard skills, he wasn't completely comfortable and confident in using them, and he didn't know how to completely operate in a post for a first option player in the NBA. 2 games into this season, you could tell that's completely out the window. He knows when to put the ball on the floor. He knows he's working angles from the triple threat and when he's initiated his handle. He's shooting more. He's more confident in his shot. It's more fluid. There's no wasted movements. Like, he's changing his speeds. Like, the game has slowed down for him. And I seen this when he was playing in the summer league. His first year in the summer league. It's like it was an adjustment. It's like he had to understand how he could move on the NBA floor. By the end of the summer league, because he only played like 2 or 3 games, but by that last few games he played, it's like he adjusted. That put me onto his intelligence. It's like he's a machine, just collecting data and then knowing how to adjust it. It seems he did that. I mean, the work that he put in this offseason with Monks, KG, Hakeem Olajuwon, and now he did some things with chess, playing chess, but you could tell already it's paying off. And it's problematic because there's no answer for that. There's no answer for it. I remember when LeBron, in 2012, when LeBron ascended, there was nothing like LeBron. You never had a player who had the physicality with the skills like LeBron did. Combo guard mixed with a facilitator, mixed with a post player who could guard centers and all of that good stuff. I was talking to a friend of mine about, we was just contemplating on this and like, what's the next evolution of the basketball player? And we was thinking about Wemby. Maybe not so wiry, but a legit 7-footer, not 6'10", 6'11", a legit 7-footer with those guard skills. And that's what you got with Wemby, man. Yeah, what he's showing right now, I think that, you have to see it in the playoffs because teams are going to, they're not going to let you, those angles are not going to always be there in the playoffs. But this dude when I'm watching him, it's like he has the answers for everything. It's like, you're going to do this, I'm going to do that. You're going to do that, I'm going to do this. Make a long story short, Wemby has all the answers to the test, and there's nobody that's going to be able to match up with him physically. Aaron, what do you say about Wemby being the best basketball player in the world?
Oh, he definitely has all the physical tools that you like to see for him to be the best basketball player in the world. You mentioned being 7'3", maybe 7'5". I've heard stories he may be 7'7". That to me is just freakish athlete, because the thing that he does, he has guard skills. He can shoot the 3-ball. He can post up. He can dribble. He brings the ball up court more than the point guard does. So like the things you see when you watch the Spurs game, of course, he probably looks like the most physically gifted athlete in basketball that we've probably ever seen. But in my opinion, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is still the best basketball player in the world until proven otherwise. He's coming off the best season that we've seen probably since Jordan last season. All-Star, first team All-NBA, scoring champ at nearly 33 points per game, Finals MVP, and he won the finals. I mean, arguably it doesn't get better than that. When he gets in that mid-range, you just know the buckets. He's getting the bucket for that. That's the most unstoppable play that we've seen in a while. It looks kind of like KD, and he has everything you need to handle the mid-range, the finishing, and he gets to the free throw line. He knows how to manipulate defenders to get there, and he just has the better overall team, in my opinion, to be the best basketball player. He has a lot more help than what Wemby does. Now, we know that Spurs team is young, Stephon Castle, but until proven otherwise, Shai Gilgeous is still the best player. He has the better supporting cast around him to put up the better numbers and be more successful at the end of the day, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm not mad at that, Shai. I always felt before this, and even though it's a 2-game sample size, I think that's why people was going to say it's just a bold statement. But we watching basketball all the time. I got to go Wemby, but for that, I always felt that Jokic was. But I just with the tools that Wemby got, and that's the thing about Wemby, and why the NBA is in a good place, because you need a superstar that is going to make you elicit a response. It's something, I forgot which one of our instructors talked about this. You want to be able to elicit a response, whether a person likes it, dislike it, or love it. You are going to want to elicit a response. And LeBron does that. Kobe makes you elicit a response. Shaq, Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson. I think that's why a lot of people were down on the finals this year, because there was no superstar that makes you elicit a response. Like Shai is Shai, he's not going. There's not a lot of people that's going to hate Shai Gilgeous. There's some that feels he gets to the foul line too much, but he don't keep the drama thick. Wemby going to keep the drama thick, because there's going to be people that, some old school people that already don't like the way that he played basketball. And there's going to be players, there's going to be young kids that are watching basketball now because of Wemby, and that's going to cause drama within basketball culture, so to speak. So basketball is in a good place. The players, you got to know they see this dude coming. And he's doing this during a time where guys are talking about being the face of the league. Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. What's the kid? I just brought him up. Jokic, he don't really get involved with that. Jokic just show up, and he want to go play with his horses and whatnot. Right. He don't really get involved with that. And, you got second-tier players that, on the rise, Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton. Brunson, and New York. Right. And Wemby taking that next step is going to keep the drama thick, which was dying down with LeBron being on the last legs of his career. So that's one of the most beautiful things about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying Steph and KD, they'll be out.
Right.
Pretty soon.
Right.
So I got to step up.
Look my uniform, I'm having it proudly way I'm dressed. The more I'm getting better, me more you getting worse. And thinking we competing, but nah, this ain't verse. Keep your emotions in, cause this loss, it might hurt, bro. Of course we came to win, got the squares out our circle.
All right, so let's talk about dark horse teams in the NBA right now. We know that OKC, of course, they're the champs. Rockets made some moves. The East is wide open, though. A lot of people have the Knicks up there. What is your dark horse team that is flying under the radar that people need to pay attention to?
I believe the Atlanta Hawks are one of the dark horse teams. They did a lot of good things over the offseason. Adding in Kristaps Porzingis, a lot of people said Trae Young never played with a legit all-star and also a legit big man. I think KP could be that guy for them. He is a little older and he's had some health concerns, especially last season dealing with that virus he had for a while.
Right, yeah.
But if he can stay on the court, if he could play about 60 games this season, I believe the Hawks could be a good force. They also got Gilgeous-Alexander's cousin,
okay,
Nikhil Walker. He's a lockdown defender.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty good. I like what the Hawks did, and I like what the Hawks can do. They play OKC tonight, actually, here in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to check that out.
They won last night over the Magic. The Magic's supposed to contest in the East, so I like what the Hawks are doing and what they can possibly be this season. And Jalen Johnson looks real good. He missed a large chunk of last season, but he was playing at an all-star level. And then, Dyson Daniels, he led the NBA in steals last year. I really love what the Hawks are doing and what they can do, especially in a weaker AFC. Eastern Conference this season.
Right. And what do you think about that first round pick, Zach Richichier? I think that's how you pronounce it.
Richichier. He had some growing pains last season, but he really started coming on at the end. He's an undersized big. He's more like a bigger wing. I believe he can be a crucial point in this league, but he's just going to need some more time to develop, especially with KP coming in. It's going to take away a little bit of those minutes, but he has time to grow. Last year's draft class was a little weak at the top end, and he was that first pick. So I believe he can do good on this team, but we'll see.
What how would you name his archetype? Richichier? Yeah.
Or like I said, he's an undersized big. Probably he has a better skill set than Draymond, but kind of that role. It's a big. He plays more on the wing than he does on the interior because of his size, of course. But he's definitely a better shooter, a little bit better scorer than Draymond. But he can do a lot of those things on the defensive end and help facilitate on the offense, running that top of the key, pick and roll, things like that.
Well, this is a topic for another day, but I think the NBA need to add a new position, a power wing. Keep power forward for a guy like Giannis and AD, but you got power wings who are really wing players who are big wing players, but they're not really power forwards.
That's Richichier.
Yeah.
He's not really a big, he's not really a wing. He's in that middle.
Right. And I like that with Alexander and Dyson Daniels. That's perimeter defense there.
And then Jalen Johnson,
right?
Also a good defender for who he was, and
Kristaps could clean up when he's healthy and meet you at the rim.
Yeah. Jalen Johnson was an all-star last year until he got hurt. So
right,
I like what they got, the Hawks this year.
So I'm gonna stay on theme with my dark horse team. I gotta go to the San Antonio Spurs. Like I gotta go back to. You gotta like what you see, man. With Wemby rising, you got Dylan Harper, who he's talented. He's by the time All-Star game gets here, you get into it, barring everybody is healthy, you get into the stretch before the postseason. I have to believe that he's going to be a threat. De'Aaron Fox is not playing right now. Castle was a problem last year. He's developing, and you got a strong supporting class. If you got teams that want to be physical with Wemby, you got a guy in Luke Cornett who could play with Wemby. And Luke Cornett has the championship pedigree. He showed up he made that series against the Knicks, even though Tatum got hurt. Luke Cornett basically won a game with his shot blocking versus the Knicks. So I think that, like I said, when Wemby, he has all the answers. I think that the supporting cast around them in San Antonio has all the answers. And, Yeah, I have to go with the San Antonio Spurs for my dark horse team. What do you say about that?
Are they really a dark horse team with Wemby? Would that be considered a dark horse team?
Yeah, because you know how these things go. Let's just say we playing the odds. The odds makers are not going to have, like, they have Wemby after the first game. They had him like move up as a favorite to win the MVP, but not the favorite. In my opinion,
I think he's second, right behind Shea.
Okay, in my opinion, you have to throw everything out the window after that point, and he's the clear cut favorite. That's what my stance is. I see where you're coming from, because they have Wemby that they're not a dark horse. I'm saying they are dark horse because you have to start talking about this team as a favorite now, in my opinion. That's just how good I think Wemby is.
Yeah, the crowded West. That's a tough call. I'm definitely looking forward to this season. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Okay.
But you have an MVP candidate. I don't know if you could be considered dark. I mean, they're expected now to be
okay.
4 in the West now, maybe top 5, and definitely for sure. So
I got you. But let's talk about OKC. What do you think about their chance of repeating?
If anybody's gonna do it, it's gonna be them. But honestly, I don't see them repeating. We haven't had a repeat champion since 2018 when the Warriors did it, and that was, we all know what that team was. So many things have to align to repeat. You got to be clear of injuries, and OKC's already starting out with one missing Jalen Williams. The first, how long is it supposed to be out? A couple of weeks.
Yeah,
that wrist injury. And we just seen in the past, everybody felt that 2024 Celtics team was going to repeat, but they had all the issues being with the salary cap, and then Tatum tore his Achilles, and Kristaps Porzingis was out consistently. And then we also said that about that 2023 Nuggets team.
Yeah.
Oh man, they're gonna go on a couple runs, win a couple, maybe back to back. When 3 of them, maybe the next 5 win them, and we see what they're still top team in the West, but they didn't repeat. They haven't won one since. So I just believe in today's NBA with they want to create a lot of parity, kind of like what the NFL does with this second apron, first apron type stuff.
Right.
So I don't. They have the talent to do it, but I don't. I just think the West is too stacked, too many stars across the West. I don't think they do.
Oh, I feel the same way. That they created parity with the second apron rules. The West is stacked. I just, like you said, it hasn't happened since 2018. I don't see it happening again. I think I gotta see what the Knicks are going to do, because I felt that once they got Bridges last year, I felt that team was ready, except for the fact that Kenny the Jet Smith got Tom Thibodeau fired when he said he wouldn't play 9 players in a baseball game. Once he said that, it's like the wind changed for Tom Thibodeau. You know what I'm saying? And it really hurt that team. It hurted those Chicago's teams. The way his coaching style, and so I think it hurt that team last year. Mike Brown, it has a bench, and Brunson is problematic, and I got to see what they're going to do. There's too much. Even these games early in this, it's a lot of close games. It's too much parity in the NBA now for a team to repeat. So, except Victor Wembanyama, man, because you don't have an answer for him, man. Like, I'm trying to tell you, man.
The way he went at AD the other night was crazy.
And I think that's the reason why he moved up in those the odds maker moved him up in the MVP, because it's who he did it against. You know what I'm saying?
It's a big.
Right, yeah.
Other than Wishby, but the next one.
Right. But that's all we got today. Appreciate you, Aaron. Going to try to get you back on, make this a reoccurring thing. Good luck, y'all.
Yes, sir. No problem. Appreciate it. Yeah, look forward to coming back.
All right, so that's going to do it for today's episode. A big shout out to Aaron Harrington for coming on and doing this thing. Again, like and subscribe to the podcast. Until next time, peace.
Yeah, 762 slam. You want to debate? My team harder than yours. We come harder. Yeah, no competition like no I in my team. No, all they wish for thinking or is it a nice dream? And we can see them coming, no need for high beams. Decision making, change a player, just do the right thing. Wasn't with me in the gym, so how can you contest? On the hilltop and ran many miles to be the best. Don't know what team I'm on, but I'm like how you see my chest. Look my uniform, I'm having it proudly way I'm dressed. The more I'm getting better, me more you getting worse. And thinking we competing, but nah, this ain't first. Keep your emotions in, cause this loss, it might hurt, bro. Of course we came to win, got the squares out our circle. They passed me the rock, I got us running up the scope. I pass it to my partner, he gon' run it up some more. Training solo dolo, we been one on one accord. Who y'all think the hardest in this little world of sports? Win the championship and why not go to Disneyland? We can change the plans like we can go and spend some bands. I'm a team player, so a loser's not a fan. The holiday season, watching sports with my fans. No competition like no I in my team. All they wish for thinking or is it a nice dream? And we can see them coming, no need for high beams. Decision making, change a player, just do the right thing. Wasn't with me in the gym, so how can you contest? Walk the hilltop and ran many miles to be the best. Don't know what team I'm on, but I'm like how you see my chest. Got my uniform, I'm having it proudly way I'm dressed. Who better? I think we're better. We're cutting the hardest. You know what I'm saying? Y'all.